The Silent Provider. In a quiet tree-lined neighborhood on the north side of Chicago, Illinois, lived Margaret Harrison, a 70-year-old retired schoolteacher. Her modest bungalow was filled with books, faded family photos, and the gentle creak of old floorboards. After her husband passed 15 years earlier, Margaret had poured every ounce of her love and her pension into her only son, Tom. Tom and his wife Mia lived in a trendy loft in Wicker Park, where the rent alone was $1,500 a month. For the past 10 years, Margaret had quietly covered that rent, plus car repairs, gym memberships, weekend getaways, and whatever Mia called her personal expenses. In total, it came to roughly $180,000. Margaret never complained. She told herself this was what mothers did. Tom would occasionally swing by, hug her tight, and say, "Mom, you're the best." That was enough. One Friday, Mia was turning 40. Margaret called early. "Honey, big party tonight? I could bring a cake." Tom laughed lightly. "Nah, Mom, it's super low-key. Just dinner with some friends. You relax." Margaret smiled to herself, happy they were enjoying their lives. That evening, out of habit, she opened Facebook. Mia's profile was exploding with photos. A lavish rooftop party at a downtown venue, string lights, craft cocktails, a DJ. Mia's parents flew in from Florida. Her siblings toasted with champagne. Tom had his arm around Mia, beaming. The caption read, "Best birthday ever with my favorite people." Margaret scrolled through every picture. Not one included her. She texted Tom, "Looks like a wonderful party. Wish I'd been there." No reply. The next morning, Tom called, sounding rushed. "Mom, rent transfer didn't come through this month. Landlord's on my case, you forget?" Margaret was quiet for a long moment, then calmly, "Tom, I saw the party photos. It looked amazing. All your favorite people were there." Tom chuckled nervously. "Mom, it was just close friends. You would have been bored." "Close friends," Margaret repeated softly. "The person who's paid your rent for 10 years wasn't close enough?" Silence on the line. "Mom, you're overreacting. Can you just send the money?" "No, Tom, not this time." That afternoon, Margaret went to her bank and canceled the automatic transfer. The calls started immediately. First Mia, voice syrupy sweet. "Mother, we get that you're upset, but we've always counted on you for rent. We plan around it." Margaret replied, "Then make new plans." 2 weeks later, Tom and Mia showed up at her door with a man in a suit. Tom looked grave. "Mom, we're really worried. Your behavior's changed overnight. You cut us off, stopped answering calls. We think you need help." The man introduced himself as an elder law attorney. He slid papers across the kitchen table. "Mrs. Harrison, we're petitioning for conservatorship. Given your recent decisions, we believe you're no longer able to manage your finances competently." Margaret stared at them. "My recent decisions? Like deciding my money is mine?" The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of manipulation. Tom and Mia reported her to Adult Protective Services, claiming sudden paranoia. A social worker visited, noting Margaret's new doorbell camera as evidence of delusional thinking. They gathered statements from a neighbor who barely knew her and a pharmacist misled into signing something vague. Margaret hired her own attorney, Mr. Ramirez, a sharp specialist in elder abuse cases. He reviewed 10 years of bank statements and whistled low. "Mrs. Harrison, this isn't generosity. This is systematic exploitation." With Mr. Ramirez's help, Margaret gathered her own evidence. Clear medical records, a fresh cognitive evaluation showing scores well above average testimonies from lifelong friends and her book club, ladies who'd watched her bloom since cutting the cord. The court date arrived on a cold spring morning. Margaret wore her best navy suit and walked into the Cook County Courthouse with her head high. Tom and Mia sat on the other side, dressed somberly as if attending a funeral. Their lawyer painted Margaret as a lonely widow falling into dementia. easily influenced by new acquaintances. Mia took the stand, tears flowing. "She's been like a second mom to me. It breaks my heart to see her decline." Under cross-examination, the tears dried fast when asked to name the last time she'd called Margaret without needing money. Tom testified next, claiming Margaret had become irrational and isolated. When pressed on how often he visited without asking for funds, he couldn't recall a single instance. Margaret's turn came. She told the judge everything: the rent, the party, the betrayal, the threats. Her voice never wavered. "Your Honor, I raised my son alone after his father died. I taught 4th grade for 35 years. I know exactly what I'm doing. I simply decided that my money and my presence are no longer for sale." The judge deliberated only an hour. When he returned, "This court finds no evidence of incapacity. Mrs. Harrison is fully competent. The petition is denied. Furthermore, the pattern here suggests financial exploitation of an elder, which this court takes seriously." Margaret walked out into the bright Chicago sunlight feeling lighter than she had in decades. That night, her book club friends threw a small celebration in her living room. Wine, laughter, no one asking for a dime. 6 months later, Margaret sold the bungalow, moved to a sunny condo in Florida, and started writing the memoir she'd always dreamed of. She never heard from Tom or Mia again. Word reached her they'd downsized to a modest apartment and Mia had taken a full-time job. Some evenings, watching the Gulf sunset, Margaret thought of the woman she used to be, quietly paying for love that was never truly hers. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone who finally understood. Real love doesn't come with a monthly invoice.